Okay, we're going to look at the reason that we use logarithms, why we need logarithms in our course. The reason, actually, logs are super useful for many different things in science and in mathematics, but in our matric course, the reason we need logs, it's to be able to find the inverse of an exponential function, or if you've got a log function, to go backwards and find the inverse of a log function will be an exponential one. Well, let's start off with, here's an exponential equation. F of x equals 2 to the x power, or y equals 2 to the x. So if we put a 1 in there, 2 to the 1 is 2, 2 to the 0 is 1, 2 to the 2 is 4, so 2 and 4 would be a point right there. And if we put it to smaller numbers like 2 to the minus 1, that's a half. 2 to the minus 2 is a quarter. So there's the shape of it. There you've got your exponential equation. Well, we know to find an inverse, what we have to do is switch x and y. So we switch x and y, we've got the inverse function, except it's kind of hard to graph thinking backwards. We want to be able to make it y equals, but we can't subtract 2 here. This is 2 to the y power. So we need a new idea. We have to use that log idea. It turns out that the y, the exponent, is the log. So the log, and 2 is the base. So the log is y to base 2. That's what x equals. So that's how you rewrite it. They give you a couple of marks for switching x and y and going y equals the log to base 2 of x, the log of x to base 2. Now, sketching the graph, you've got 0 and 1 and 2 and 4. All you have to do to sketch the graph, y equals x is your axis of symmetry, your mirror. All you have to do is switch the 0 and 1 and make it 1 and 0. And instead of 2 and 4, just switch the x and y, make it 4 and 2. And then graph in that shape that would make it mirror-like. Instead of becoming infinitely close to the negative x-axis, your line's going to get infinitely close to that negative y-axis. It doesn't have to be perfect like this. I got GeoGebra computer to make it look so nice. We write f to the minus 1. That's our symbol for calling it the inverse function. If we did a vertical line test, it would only, for every x value, there'd only be one y value. Okay, the next example has f of x equals 1/2 to the x power. Well, again, we just switch x and y. This is the log. So this is the inverse function here. But the log, you see your base is the base on the bottom, the base on the bottom. The log is actually y. So y equals the log of x to the base 1/2. And that's your inverse. And if you graph this one right, all you have to do is switch the x and y values to get the inverse function. So you can look at those notes kind of carefully, and you should be able to come up with it. We've got 4 questions to give a try. Then we've got exam questions with memos, and you just have to keep trying and doing a lot. Some people find these pretty tricky, but just do the best you can. Okay. All done.